When it comes to regulating technology, governments do a less than perfect job. So the challenge of regulating a technology as radical and promising and dangerous as AI should not be underestimated. It's the cover story of this month's Foreign Affairs magazine. The co-author of that article is with us now. Ian Bremmer is president and founder of the Eurasia Group. Ian, great to have you with us.
Hi, man. Good to see you.
So to overly simplify, do you think we will get the regulation of AI right? There are early steps being taken. The EU has taken some steps, but this is a big task. Are we up to it globally?
We have to try, and we're certainly not going to get there if we don't. So I would say that the biggest challenge here is that we're late. It's very fast moving, and critically, the technology companies have all the expertise and the resources. So it's hard for me to imagine that the governments will be able to do this at all unless they're working closely with the tech companies in creating the kind of institutions and governance architecture we need. That is unprecedented, and it makes it more challenging.
One of the issues that you raise in your article, of course, is that there's a geopolitical aspect to this. Power could shift because of the intrinsic power of this technology. Do you think it will, or will it embed those that already have it? Because it is Western democracies that so far are advancing AI, but it could fall into many different hands.
Well, I mean, of course, it's not really Western democracies. It's technology companies that happen to be based in Western democracies that are run by a small number of men who have very different ideological orientations than necessarily aligning themselves with the U.S. government and or its allies. So that by itself makes this an open question. Would you be comfortable if those people were the ones by themselves that were creating this new architecture? I think a lot of people out there would not be. I also do expect that AI as a technology will become systemic and proliferate in very, very short order. In other words, you're going to have thousands of actors, some of which will be companies, some of which will be individuals and organizations that will have the ability to cause a lot of systemic productivity and a lot of damage as AI rolls out. And what that means is some of this regulation itself needs to be systemic and technocratic. It needs to sit above geopolitics. It can't just be the US and China that are engaging in a new Cold War. It has to be everyone that works together to ensure that AI can function, and that if a crisis happens, that everyone responds. In other words, it's got to look a little bit like the global financial markets.
We only have about 45 seconds in here, Ian, but you get the sense that we may be too late to this because this technology is already iterating itself. Are we too late, or are you optimistic we can get there?
We're late. I'm glad that everyone out there that matters in politics focuses on this issue as urgent and a priority right now. So there's no question a lot of lifting is going to be done in the next 24, 36 months. We'll see how far we get.
And if, of course, we don't get there, are you generally optimistic, or are you concerned? People don't really know how to think about AI, Ian. Do you see it as a positive force in the universe or a negative one?
Amanda, it's both. This is a globalization 2.0 in terms of what it means to unlock the ability to act intelligently for anyone that has access to AI, billions of people around the world. But the dangers are also staggering. When we had industrialization 1.0, climate change was a very negative consequence that was unintended, but nonetheless came hand in glove with it. We're now dealing with the consequence of that. That's what's going to happen with AI. Great productivity and great danger.
Ian, so good to have you. Always appreciate your time.
Talk to you soon.
Ian Bremmer is president and founder of the Eurasia Group and GZERO Media. Time for the takeaway and pretending to want to solve a problem. We definitely have a housing problem in Canada. Affordability has been bad for years, and a combination of the pandemic, demographics, and immigration has only made it worse. Bottom line, we have more people than houses. The solution is pretty simple: build more homes. It's an answer we've known for decades, actually, as this problem has been pretty slow moving. So why can't we get it done? For all of the announcements, and they seem to come weekly now because it's a hot political issue, we still don't make much headway. We need almost 6 million new homes 7 years from now, but we are not tracking anywhere near that number. So what gives? The problem with a problem like this one is almost everyone is willing to agree it should change, but the majority of us don't have much interest in changing it. Canadians are still very much homeowners. 2/3 of households already own. 1/3 of us have a mortgage. Those are people who want home values to go up, not down. Most of them are voters. That means, politically speaking, the winning play seems to be talking about affordability but doing nothing about it. True affordability will only come when the value of existing homes fall. Unfortunately, in recent years, many Canadians got in the habit of thinking of their home as a place they would make huge gains, windfall-style returns they couldn't see anywhere else. But that is not a healthy way to think of housing, because once we treat it like a market, current participants have a vested interest in limiting supply. It may be something few would admit, but it helps explain why a problem with an easy fix persists stubbornly. My takeaway: the first step in solving any problem is describing it accurately. We may not have a housing affordability problem so much as a rigged market. That's Taking Stock for this week. I'm Amanda Lang. Thanks for being with us.